Three friends, all struggling with their miserable lives, find themselves in an unexpected situation when they accidentally travel 30 years into the past. Now, with the rare chance to change their future, they must decide if they can rewrite their destiny. But will it be as easy as it seems? Let's start from the beginning. Nick, Adam, and Lou have been friends for years, but each of them is stuck in a midlife crisis. Nick once dreamed of being a singer, but his career never took off. Instead, he now works as a dog groomer, a job he never wanted. One day, a client recognizes him and reminds him that he was once known for his terrible singing back in the 1980s. Embarrassed and frustrated, Nick feels like a failure. Adam, on the other hand, is a workaholic. He spends all his time in the office, and his personal life is falling apart. One evening, when he finally comes home from work, he finds out that his girlfriend has packed up her things and left him. She even took a lot of his belongings, making him feel even more alone. In his basement, his teenage nephew Jacob lives, left behind by Adam's sister, who ran off with her new boyfriend, abandoning her son. Then there's Lou, whose life is in the worst shape of all. He has a serious addiction to drugs and is drowning in debt. He sees no way out and, in a moment of despair, tries to end his own life. He ends up in the hospital where Nick and Adam rush to see him. Lou had no family, so when he was taken to the hospital, the staff called Adam and Nick, hoping they could support him and stop him from harming himself. When they arrived, Lou was upset with them for ignoring his calls and not being there for him. As they talked, all three realized how miserable their lives had become. To take a break from their problems, they decided to go on a short vacation. They chose a ski resort in their old hometown, the place where they had spent their teenage years when life was fun and full of possibilities. Adam's nephew, Jacob, joined them on the trip. After a long drive, they finally arrived at the resort. To their surprise, it looked exactly the same as it did 30 years ago, as if nothing had changed. As they checked in, they met a strange bellman named Phil, who had only one hand. He helped them with their luggage, and they went to their room. Once inside, they noticed a hot tub outside and decided to relax in it. As they soaked in the warm water, they talked about their teenage years, remembering the good times they had in this town. They had no idea that this hot tub would soon take them on an unbelievable journey, one that could change their lives forever. As evening set in, the three friends sat in the hot tub outside, drinking and reminiscing about their younger days. They laughed, shared memories, and enjoyed the moment. But then, something unexpected happened. Lou, already drunk, accidentally spilled an illegal Russian drink onto the hot tub circuit. Sparks flew and the system started to malfunction. The next morning, they woke up feeling groggy. Lou, having had too much to drink, was the first to vomit. Trying to shake off their hangovers, the group decided to go skiing, just like they used to when they were teenagers. But as they hit the slopes, they began to notice something strange. Everything around them looked different. The way people dressed, the way the town looked, even the way things operated. It all felt like the 1980s, just like when they were teenagers. Confused and slightly panicked, they rushed back to the resort. That's when they noticed something even more shocking. The bellman, Phil, who had only one hand the day before, now had both hands and looked much younger. Fear crept in. How was this possible? They hurried back to their room, trying to make sense of what was happening. That's when Jacob, Adam's nephew, pieced it together. Looking at the hot tub, he realized what must have happened. The spilled drink must have caused a malfunction, triggering an accidental time travel event that had sent them back to the 1980s. Their shock grew even more when they looked in the mirror. In their reflection, they saw their teenage selves staring back at them. But when they looked at each other directly, they still looked the same as before. Jacob explained that it was likely a space-time effect. The people in this era saw them as their younger selves because, in this time, their teenage versions were the ones who existed. The group is shocked to realize that Jacob shouldn't even exist yet, since he hasn't been born. A mysterious repairman warns them not to alter the past, as even small changes could have drastic consequences due to the butterfly effect. Until they fix the hot tub time machine and return to the future, they must relive the events exactly as they happened. Adam must break up with his girlfriend Jenny, who will then stab his eye with a fork in anger. Lou is destined to get beaten up twice by a bully, and the second time, his friends won't intervene. Meanwhile, Nick has the easiest task, performing in a band event and hooking up with a fan. As they attempt to repeat history, they encounter Kelly, Adam's sister, and Jacob's future mother. Today, she is supposed to conceive Jacob with an unknown man. This revelation unsettles Jacob, but the group pushes forward, knowing they must stay on course to avoid disrupting the timeline. The four split up to carry out their tasks according to plan. Adam heads to Jenny's room, prepared to break up with her as he originally did. However, seeing her again after so many years stirs up old emotions. Instead of ending things, he hesitates, lost in memories of their past. Unable to go through with it, he avoids the breakup and ends up accompanying her to a concert instead. Meanwhile, Lou crosses paths with an old classmate, one who once bullied him. Just as before, the guy beats him up and steals his bag, a seemingly minor event that will prove crucial later in the story. Later that night, Lou is supposed to get attacked again while sitting on a bench. Nick, on the other hand, arrives at his band's venue preparing for their performance. He sticks to the plan, playing his role in history, which includes getting intimate with a devoted fan. Adam and Jenny also attend the same concert, where Adam meets April, a music journalist covering the event. Unlike Jenny, April immediately intrigues him. Jacob, having grown concerned about the timeline, also finds his way to the concert. When he realizes Adam still hasn't broken up with Jenny, he panics. When questioned, Jacob speculates that maybe breaking up with Jenny was the worst decision Adam ever made, one that led his life down a miserable path. Perhaps, he suggests, the universe is giving Adam a second chance to rewrite his fate. The four regroup in their room, only to realize that Adam has failed to repeat the past as intended. This revelation infuriates Lou, who argues that if Adam gets to alter history, then he should have the right to do the same. In the future, Lou's life is a disaster. No family, no money, drowning in addiction and debt. If changing the past is an option, he wants to rewrite his own fate as well. However, before the argument escalates, Jacob suddenly begins glitching, flickering in and out of reality. Panicked, he warns them that if they keep altering past events, he might cease to exist entirely. This forces the group to reconsider, realizing they must restore history as closely as possible. Fearful of losing his nephew, Adam rushes to find Jenny again, determined to break up with her properly this time. But before he can speak, Jenny hands him a note. She wants to break up with him first. Stunned, Adam's frustration boils over. In the original timeline, Jenny had stabbed him with a fork when he broke up with her. Yet now she wants to leave him on her own terms. Furious, Adam blurts out that he knows about all the affairs she will have in the future. Offended, Jenny assumes he's insulting her, and in a rage attacks him with a cocktail fork, this time fulfilling history, albeit with slight differences. Meanwhile, Lou and Nick find themselves at a bar, surrounded by a crowd engrossed in a sports game. Seeing an opportunity, Lou realizes he can exploit his knowledge of future events to make a fortune. Wasting no time, he begins placing bets with several people, confident in his predictions. As expected, everything unfolds exactly as he remembers, and Lou easily wins all the money. However, his winning streak attracts the attention of another gambler, who challenges him to place one final bet, all or nothing. Brimming with confidence, Lou accepts, convinced he already knows the outcome. But just as his prediction is about to come true, something unexpected happens. The very same squirrel he had vomited on earlier that morning appears on the field. Its sudden presence disrupts the game, altering the course of events. To Lou's horror, the outcome changes, and he loses everything in an instant. This moment serves as a harsh lesson. Small actions in the past can have massive, unforeseen consequences. A single squirrel managed to rewrite the future. Meanwhile, Adam is still fuming over his breakup. Learning that Jenny had planned to leave him all along only adds to his frustration. He still got hurt despite the breakup being inevitable. Just then, April, the music journalist he met at the concert, shows up. The two strike up a conversation and quickly connect, discovering how much they understand each other. As they go for a walk, Adam opens up, revealing that after his father's death, he became so consumed by work that he neglected his personal life entirely. Though unaware that Adam is speaking about events that haven't technically happened yet, April advises him to let go of the past and focus on building a better future, words that resonate deeply with him. At the bar, Lou starts making a list of all the events he wants to change this time around. Meanwhile, Nick, lost in thought, opens up to the people around him. He shares how his wife, the woman he deeply loved, cheated on him, shattering his trust and faith in music. After that betrayal, his life took a downward spiral, and he abandoned his passion altogether. Lou refuses to accept this. He reminds Nick that music is his true calling and that he shouldn't let a cheater take that away from him. Encouraged by Lou's words, Nick regains his confidence and decides to perform. He takes the stage and delivers an incredible performance, earning loud applause from the crowd. Meanwhile, Jacob returns to his room, where he encounters the same mysterious repairman. The man informs him that if they want to return to their original timeline, they need the exact chemical that originally powered the machine. the Russian energy drink they had accidentally spilled in the pool. By this time, Adam and April have also arrived at the concert. Outside, Lou decides to confront the bullies who stole his bag, determined to retrieve it. Inside, Jacob rushes to Adam and Nick, urgently sharing what the repairman told him. Realizing they need the Russian energy drink to get back home, they suddenly remember Lou and the fact that they had completely forgotten to stop him from getting beaten up again. Outside, Lou sits on a rooftop terrace, battered and drinking alone. As the others rush to find him, he lashes out, accusing them of never truly caring about him and always leaving him behind. In the midst of his outburst, Lou suddenly loses his balance and starts to fall. Everyone panics, scrambling to pull him back to safety. Just in time, Phil arrives and helps them save Lou. When they finally ask about the Russian energy drink, Lou groggily admits that it was in his stolen bag, the very one the bullies took. The group rushes to the bully's house, determined to retrieve Lou's stolen bag. On the way, April pulls Adam aside and tells him that she's leaving now, but she hopes to meet him again in the future because she genuinely likes him. Adam, who feels the same way, agrees, and they part ways with the promise of meeting again. Upon reaching the house, they break in and start searching for Lou's bag. As Adam and the others rummage through the rooms, Nick, still drunk and bitter, starts dwelling on his wife's betrayal. Overcome with emotion, he impulsively dials her number and begins yelling at her for cheating on him. However, to his shock, the person on the other end of the line is just a 9-year-old girl, his wife as a child. Before he can say anything incriminating, Adam quickly snatches the phone and hangs up, preventing him from saying something irreversible. Meanwhile, in another room, Lou stumbles upon Kelly, Adam's sister and Jacob's mother. Both intoxicated, they get caught up in the moment and start getting intimate. Just then, Adam, Nick, and Jacob enter the room and freeze at the sight before them. Lou, startled by their presence, panics, and in that instant, Jacob suddenly glitches and vanishes from existence. The horrifying realization dawns on everyone. Jacob's true father was never the unknown man Kelly had thought. It was Lou all along. Since both Lou and Kelly were too drunk that night to remember, they never knew the truth. But now, by interrupting this moment, they had unknowingly prevented Jacob from ever being conceived. Adam and Nick, grasping the gravity of the situation, tell Lou that he must finish what he started. He has to ensure Jacob is conceived. Lou, still in shock, reluctantly complies, and the moment history corrects itself, Jacob reappears, fully restored to reality. After settling everything, the four set out to find the bully Lou had fought twice before. This time, however, Lou is not alone. His friends stand beside him, and with newfound confidence, he takes on the fight head-on. With their support, he finally overpowers the bully and reclaims his stolen bag, retrieving the Russian energy drink they need to power the hot tub time machine. Wasting no time, they rush back to their resort room. Just as they prepare to leave, Phil bids them farewell. But at that moment, a car speeds by and smashes into his hand, leaving him in shock. Ignoring the chaos, the four jump into the hot tub, ready to return to the future. Jacob and Nick are the first to leap in, disappearing into the swirling vortex. But just as Lou is about to follow, he hesitates. He realizes that this is his chance to rewrite his fate. Instead of returning to a future where he is broke, alone, and addicted, he chooses to stay in the past. He wants to start fresh with Kelly and Jacob and ensure that his life is no longer filled with regret. He also sees this as an opportunity to build wealth and secure his financial future. Adam, inspired by Lou's decision, impulsively declares that he, too, wants to stay and change his fate. But before he can act, Lou shoves him into the hot tub, sending him back against his will. As the vortex closes, Adam, Jacob, and Nick are hurled through time, returning to the present, only to realize that the world they left behind has drastically changed. In this altered future, Lou is no longer the failure he once was. He has become a wildly successful businessman, rich beyond imagination, and free of debt. In this new timeline, the three quickly realize just how much Lou has changed the future. With his knowledge of upcoming events, he amassed an enormous fortune, creating a business empire. Not only did he secure his wealth, but he also married Kelly and now lives happily with her and Jacob as a proper family. The surprises don't stop there. They are shocked to see Phil completely unharmed, with both of his hands intact. It turns out that, unlike before, Lou had taken him to the hospital in time, ensuring that his injury was treated properly and prevented. As they continue exploring this altered reality, they discover just how deeply Lou has reshaped the world. The most popular search engine, once known as Google, is now called Lul, a clear sign of how he took advantage of his future knowledge to dominate the tech industry. Meanwhile, Adam returns home, only to find that everything has changed, including his personal life. In this timeline, he is happily married to April, the woman he connected with at the concert. This time, he never lost her, and they have built a wonderful life together. Nick also discovers that his life has taken a turn for the better. He is now a highly successful music producer, a stark contrast to the struggling musician he once was. Even more shocking, he learns that his wife never cheated on him in this reality. She explains that when she was 9 years old, an unknown man had angrily accused her of cheating, which made her vow never to betray anyone. What she doesn't realize is that the unknown man was actually Nick himself, drunkenly calling her from the past. Now, with their lives completely transformed, they all gather at Lou's extravagant mansion, celebrating their newfound happiness. Time travel had rewritten their fates, turning their struggles into successes and giving each of them the lives they had always wanted. With this joyful reunion, the story comes to a satisfying conclusion, at least for now. But with so much potential left in this new timeline, the adventure is far from over. And here we go! Season 2 kicks off now. The story begins with Lou, who completely changed his life after traveling through time. By the year 2015, he has become one of the richest and most successful people in the world. His company, Lugal, remains at the top, making him incredibly powerful and wealthy. Meanwhile, Nick also took full advantage of time travel. He returned to the past and sang all the hit songs before the original artists ever got a chance. As a result, he is now a world-famous singer, enjoying massive fame and success. Jacob, however, feels lost in this new reality. Unlike Lou and Nick, he didn't change anything for himself. Instead, his father, Lou, altered the timeline to his advantage, which also changed Jacob's life completely. But Jacob doesn't feel happy about it. His father is always distracted, obsessed with his wealth, parties, and barely paying attention to his family. Jacob feels disconnected and questions what he is even doing in this altered timeline. As for Adam, things took a different turn. After returning from the past, he wrote a book about time travel. However, he eventually disappeared from public life, choosing to isolate himself from the world to discover his true purpose. Lou, despite his success, still holds on to hope that one day Adam will return. While the group has been living completely new lives since their trip to 1986, not everyone is happy. One of their old friends, Gary, remains angry at them. He was supposed to join them on their trip to the resort, where everything changed. But at the last moment, they left him behind, never answering his calls. He never got the same chance they did to rewrite his future, and he still holds a grudge against them for it. Jacob calls Nick to invite him to a party, but Nick isn't sure if he can make it. Ever since he became famous, he has barely had time for his family. He tells Jacob that he might not be able to attend because he wants to spend more time with them. Meanwhile, Jacob notices that his father, Lou, has completely lost himself in his addiction. He is always intoxicated, and to make things worse, Jacob's mother, Kelly, has also started drinking and using drugs because of Lou's influence. Lou barely acts like a responsible husband or father anymore. At his company, Lou often arrives at the office intoxicated, yet somehow he always manages to come up with solutions whenever problems arise. One of his employees, Brad, is shocked at how Lou is always under the influence, but still finds a way to fix things. What Brad doesn't know is that Lou has been secretly traveling back in time, altering events to his advantage, but people around him are starting to get suspicious. During one of his intoxicated rants, Lou accidentally blurts out something strange. He says that if nitrogen is mixed with hot water, something amazing can happen. He was unknowingly talking about the hot tub time machine, but no one realizes it at the moment. As evening falls, Lou's grand party begins. Eventually, Nick arrives with his wife, but she isn't happy. She is upset because, even though they have been married for a year, they haven't spent much time together due to his busy schedule. Nick can see that she is frustrated, but he doesn't know how to fix things. At the party, Jacob confronts Lou and tells him that he needs to stop using drugs and drinking so much, but Lou refuses to listen. Instead of taking his son seriously, he ignores him and goes back to enjoying the party. Frustrated, Jacob decides to forget about his father for the night. He spots a girl named Sophie and goes up to talk to her. However, Sophie is not interested in him. She immediately shuts him down and scolds him, leaving Jacob embarrassed. Meanwhile, Gary finds Lou at the party and brings up a business deal. Gary wants to sell one of his properties because he is struggling financially. He hopes Lou might be interested in buying it, but Lou, completely uninterested, brushes Gary off without a second thought. Lou is invited to give a speech about how he became the richest man in the world while living life on his own terms. He confidently lies, claiming his success comes from intelligence and recognizing opportunities. In reality, he has been using time travel to manipulate events to his advantage, a secret he cannot share with anyone. However, Lou's luck is about to run out. Suddenly, the lights go out at the party. In the darkness, an unknown figure shoots Lou and quickly escapes. Bleeding heavily, Lou collapses as Nick and Jacob rush to his side, desperately asking who shot him. But Lou never saw the attacker's face. Realizing he won't survive, they decide there's only one way to save him, traveling back in time to a point where he was never shot. Jacob quickly opens a secret door, revealing the hot tub time machine Lou had secretly purchased from the ski resort. Wasting no time, they prepare to time travel once again. As they activate the machine using nitrogen, the three are suddenly transported back in time. They wake up in the past, confused but unharmed. At first, Lou isn't moving, but after a few tense moments, he finally regains consciousness. To their relief, his gunshot wound has vanished, proving their time travel plan worked. Stepping out of their room, the three are stunned to see that Lou's house has become completely futuristic. Confused, Lou looks around and is shocked to find a painting of Jacob in his place, where Jacob appears much older and completely bald. Before he can process this, Sophie suddenly comes downstairs, kisses Jacob, and casually walks away. This is the same Sophie he tried to talk to at the party, but now in this timeline, she is his girlfriend. Realizing something is off, Jacob guesses that instead of going to the past, they have accidentally traveled to the future. Checking the TV, they confirm that it is now the year 2025, meaning they jumped 10 years ahead instead of going back to 2015. However, there's a major problem. Nitrogen no longer exists in this timeline, meaning they have no way to time travel again. As they look into a mirror, they notice something strange. They are actually aging by 10 years. Now Nick and Jacob have to figure out how Lou is still alive. If he was shot in 2015, did someone save him? Who was behind the attack, and why? So many questions, but no answers. Jacob starts piecing things together and realizes they may have ended up in an alternate future timeline. Since the time machine always takes them to a point where they can improve their lives, this means someone in 2025 is going to time travel back to 2015 to kill Lou at the party. Their only chance to fix everything is to find the murderer before it happens. At that moment, Lou starts feeling disconnected from reality. If they don't fix the past quickly, he will die in 2015 and disappear from this future timeline entirely. Panic sets in as they race to figure out who could be behind the attack. Jacob suddenly recalls something crucial. He found Adam's blazer in the room with the time machine. None of them could understand why Adam would try to kill his own friend. Determined to find answers, they use Lowell's search to track down Adam's address and rush there. However, instead of finding Adam, they meet his son, Adam Jr. Adam Jr. tells them that he has never met his father because Adam left before he was born. As they speak, Jill, Adam Jr.'s fiancée, arrives. She excitedly shares that they are getting married tomorrow and invites all three of them to the wedding. Jill is also a huge fan of Nick's songs. Seeing no other option, the three decide to tell Adam Jr. and Jill the truth, that they have traveled 10 years into the future using a time machine and are looking for Lou's murderer. They also explain that they believe Adam may be connected to the mystery and need to find him. Jill suggests that Adam Jr. join them in the search since he too wants to meet his father. Who knows? Maybe Adam will show up at the wedding. With Adam Jr. now part of the group, the four of them head to Adam's mother's old house to look for clues about his whereabouts. Meanwhile, Lou makes a shocking discovery. Gary is now famous in this timeline. This makes Lou suspect that Gary might be the one who shot him in 2015. If Gary had eliminated him back then, he could have easily risen to power. Acting on impulse, Lou storms into Gary's office and attacks him, demanding to know why he tried to kill him. But Gary is completely shocked and denies it. He explains that he never would have killed Lou because that would have landed him in jail, ruining his future. Instead, Gary's wealth came from a land deal, a plot that Lou refused to buy in 2015. After a massive flood, the land skyrocketed in value, making Gary incredibly rich. If anything, he owes his success to Lou, not the other way around. Realizing Gary is telling the truth, Lou backs off. Gary, now on good terms with them, invites everyone to his nightclub party that evening. But the night ahead is only going to bring more trouble, because Lou still has no idea who really tried to kill him. Meanwhile, at the party, Nick discovers something incredible. One of his songs is about to become famous in the future. But unlike his other hits, this one is truly his own, his first original song. At the party, Nick gains new confidence after realizing that his first original song will be a hit. This inspires him to start making his own music rather than stealing songs from the past. Meanwhile, Lou, as usual, is heavily intoxicated and taking. He then pressures Adam Jr. into doing the same. Despite Adam's wedding being the next day, Lou forces him to take, dragging him further into his reckless lifestyle. When Jill finds out that Adam Jr. has taken a lot of the night before their wedding, she is furious. His condition starts worsening, and his high lasts until the next morning. As Adam Jr. stumbles downstairs, Jacob loses his patience with his father. He is disgusted that Lou is still obsessed with even in such a serious situation. Jacob confronts Lou, telling him that he should never have pressured Adam Jr. into this. But Lou, as always, refuses to take responsibility. Frustrated and disappointed, Jacob storms out. Soon after, Adam Jr.'s condition deteriorates even more, and Lou and Nick rush him to the hospital. There, Lou is shocked to see that his ex-wife, Kelly, is working as a nurse. Lou learns the harsh truth. In the last 10 years, Kelly divorced him because she was fed up with his addiction and neglect. Now Lou lives alone while Kelly has moved on with her life. Lou tries to apologize and ask her to take him back, but Kelly firmly refuses. She tells him, "I will never live with a man who doesn't care about his family." Her words hit Nick hard too. He realizes that he has been making the same mistakes with his own wife since becoming famous, neglecting his family and chasing fame instead. Meanwhile, Kelly fights hard to save Adam Jr., and after a long struggle, she finally stabilizes him. At the same time, Jacob is at another party, feeling lost. Sophie notices his strange behavior and confronts him. She tells him, "You're becoming just like your father." At first, Jacob denies it, but then he catches a glimpse of himself in the mirror. For the first time, he truly sees it. He has become exactly like Lou. The realization is too much for him. Overwhelmed and ashamed, Jacob begins to think about taking his own life. Nick and Lou rush to find Jacob, only to discover him standing on the edge of a tall building, ready to jump. Lou, for the first time, sincerely talks to his son, admitting that he has been wrong all along. He promises that, from now on, he will give up drinking and his reckless lifestyle. Hearing this, Jacob feels a sense of relief and decides to step down. But just as he moves, his foot slips and he accidentally falls. Nick and Lou scream in panic, but to their shock, Jacob lands safely. That's when they realize that in this futuristic world, people cannot take their own lives by choice. Some unknown force prevents it. Days later, they all see breaking news. Brad, a former employee from Lou's company in 2015, has discovered a new element, nitrofintium. Lou immediately suspects that Brad might be the one who traveled back in time to kill him. Brad was jealous of Lou's success back in 2015, and now he has also rediscovered nitrofintium, the key to time travel. Coincidentally, Brad is attending Adam Jr.'s wedding, so the group rushes there. Meanwhile, Jill is still furious at Adam Jr. for getting so drunk just one night before their wedding. In a moment of revenge, she decides to get intimate with Lou. At the same time, Jacob finally finds Brad at the wedding and immediately asks him for nitrofintium, the only way to time travel. Surprisingly, Brad agrees and hands it over. Curious, Jacob then asks, "Are you the one who went back in time to kill Lou?" Brad looks confused and denies it, saying, "Why would I do that? Lou actually helped me." He explains that in 2015, Lou accidentally mentioned nitrogen, which inspired Brad to create nitrofintium. Without Lou, Brad would have never made this discovery. As Adam Jr. wanders around the wedding, he suddenly realizes that Lou is getting intimate with his future wife, Jill. Heartbroken and furious, he decides to leave without saying anything. On his way out, he bumps into Jacob and, still filled with rage, demands to know how time travel works with nitro. When Jacob explains, Adam Jr. suddenly grabs the nitro from him and runs away. Jacob, shocked, turns to Brad and tells him that Adam Jr. has stolen the nitro. Meanwhile, Lou spots Brad at the wedding and, without thinking, punches him, still believing that Brad is the one who tried to kill him in 2015. But Jacob quickly stops Lou, revealing the truth. Adam Jr. is the real shooter. Everything starts making sense now. Adam Jr. saw Lou betray him, and that's why he wanted revenge. That explains why his blazer was found near the time machine earlier in the story. Realizing that they have been walking around with their own murderer this whole time, the group quickly rushes back to the time machine. Using the nitro that Brad created, they travel back to the night of the party in 2015, the night Lou was shot. As the party unfolds, they see Adam Jr. preparing to shoot Lou. His eyes are filled with rage as he blames Lou for ruining his life. But this time, Lou does something different. Instead of running or fighting, he apologizes. He admits that he was wrong for pushing Adam Jr. into wrong for betraying him with Jill, and wrong for never taking responsibility for his actions. But now he has learned from his mistakes. He promises that this time, in this new timeline, he will change. Adam Jr. hesitates. For a moment, he is still filled with anger. But then, he realizes something. If Lou has already changed, then his future is no longer set in stone. He doesn't have to live with the same pain anymore. At that moment, Jill from 2015, who was working as a waitress at the party, accidentally bumps into Adam Jr. The two lock eyes. Suddenly, Adam Jr. realizes something important. In this timeline, He is meeting Jill for the first time. Everything is new, and this is his chance to change his future for the better. He decides to stay silent about time travel and simply focus on getting to know her naturally. Meanwhile, Nick makes a big decision. He will stop chasing fame and focus on his family. He will only write and perform his own original songs from now on. Lou also finds Kelly and apologizes to her. He tells her that he has seen his future and it is lonely and miserable because of his addiction. He promises to change, to be a better husband and father. Jacob, knowing what the future holds, reunites with Sophie, understanding that they are meant to be together. In the first part of their journey, they traveled to the past to change their lives. In this part, they traveled to the future, saw their mistakes, and learned how to fix their present. Now all four of them are truly happy. But just as they are about to settle down, Adam suddenly gets an idea. Hey, he says, if we can go back in time, why stop here? We can go even further and become legends. The final scene shows them jumping through time over and over again. They become America's founding fathers. They are the ones who saved Abraham Lincoln. They secretly paint all the famous masterpieces. By constantly traveling through history, they leave their mark everywhere. And with that, the story ends on a hilarious note. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.